Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Here in this phenomenal race, Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin's still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to PSGL Season 34, Round 3 here. And we go to a circuit which has been the home of the Formula 1 Championship since 1950. It's the home of British motorsport, the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone, a home of many drivers as well, including ourselves. My name is GeForce, and joining me as per usual, we've got Mr. James Head. James, how you doing?
I am doing very, very well. You can't tell we're British, I think, with my background, that we've got the red arrows, British flags out, British cushion out in full force as well. But of course it is Silverstone. It's one of the highlights of the calendar for these drivers. And of course, coming into tonight, we had a new race winner last week in Markadors. Markadors taking the win from Max, of course, last week. And Markadors now lands himself, Jess, at the top end of the championship.
Yes, Markadors, I would say, redemption after the first round, because in round number 1, he did take the win, but it got removed by the stewards. This time, he took the win, he did nothing wrong, so he kept the win, and rightly so. What a very clean drive for him as well throughout Bahrain, and to be honest, one of some really great races in PSGL history, but we got some stewards results to take care of. One thing you probably noticed, Jerry Van Bussel got a 5-second time penalty with a collision with Nando on lap 27, turn 10. That was right towards the end of the race. That demoted him for quite a few places down to 4th place. Your own got a 5-second time penalty as well for causing a collision with Stefano on lap 9, turn 1. And then we had Tom Ryderdale got their 3-second time penalties removed, and Bradders have got a 3-second time penalty for his incident as well. That is it though for drivers' incidents. What does that do with the standings? Well, as Jane briefly mentioned, Markadors leads by 6 points over Bradders in P2. Bradders did not have a good result last time out, in 17th position, which is not ideal, but he has a point to prove today because he won here around this track in Challengers. And then we got Kazizel and Max in 3rd and 4th. They're on 12 points, but Max is not here tonight. He can't make it. Wiener can't make it either, but he's on 10. Then we got Nando, Jay Van Bussel, Black Box, Yossi, Ryderdale making up your top 10. But yeah, I have to say a lot of drivers looking very good this week to take the win. Bradders, I think, to watch out for. Obviously, he did it when it counted in Challengers. Can he do it where it counts on the new game?
Potentially. So he had the form, I think, going into Challengers as well. He won that race, I think, by 4 seconds in the end, and it was a dominant win, don't get me wrong, but it was on the previous game. So the transition from the previous game, from Challengers, now onto the new game at F1 23, will pose a bit of a task, I think, for everyone. It is Silverstone, though. Anything can happen in terms of the British weather. It says on my laptop at the minute that it's 15 degrees and it's raining. Luckily, though, it is not raining out on track, I can report. It is all dry, for now, at least, in terms of the racing, in terms of the action. And, of course, I mean, looking at the standings as well, Jess, Kian, last year's Max, actually, last year's defending champion, all the way down in 4th position at the minute. He has had a very good start to the season. Obviously not here tonight. He's going to put himself down on the back foot potentially after tonight and going forward, of course, into the next couple of races. But from a championships perspective, it is wide open. It's still early on in the season, but as we've seen in F2 and as we've been watching F2 before we came live, there could be quite a lot of action and quite a lot of drivers within about 10 seconds of each other.
Yeah, so we could see a typical British weather go in around Silverstone. We saw it in real life and we saw it in F2 with the changeable conditions. Will we see it here? Well, luckily we're not seeing it in qualifying. First used Silverstone, a race back in 1948, a race which attracted a reported 100,000 spectators. Fast forward to around about 2023 now. 480,000 spectators watched this year's British Grand Prix at Silverstone. So almost 4 times the amount of spectators that we get in a Formula One race back in 1950. So that's how much it's grown and changed over the years. We are about to get started, and this is one of the tracks, James, where I know every single corner name. I don't usually refer it by turn number, I know it by corner name, but literally everyone is out on circuit apart from 2 drivers. Probably that means something that they're not telling us, or they just want to get out on track quickly.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think everyone's in a bit of a rush to get out, potentially in terms of the tyres and in terms of getting the traction down, basically on the track, and it's going to be fascinating. Abbey Farm Village, the Loop, then Aintree, Wellington Straight, Brooklands, Luffield, all the likes. I can't remember them off by heart, but we will get there eventually. The first man out on track actually is the Aston Martin of your own. He's actually filling in tonight, is the FBR man, and he's now coming through the final corner. And let's take you on a lap then with your own, coming through Club Corner, down the Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight, and on the run down in towards Abbey and Farm at turns number 1 and 2. And he actually opts to take the 8th gear. You actually lose a little bit of time through there. Compared to time trial, I'd take a very high 7th gear through there. Now into Village at turn 3, then into the Loop then at turn number 4. And he's looking pretty good, I've got to say, on this lap so far. Very nice on the rumble strip on the outside. Coming down through Aintree Corner, down the old Wellington Straight, named after the RAF bombers, of course, like graced the airfield circuit in World War II. We're now coming through in towards the first sector, split 27 flat in the first sector from your own, not looking too bad at all. Through Brooklands, then in towards Luffield. You sat here, I think, on the left-hand side, Jess, once upon a time at Silverstone, and you were on this pit straight a couple of weeks ago, performing a student as well. As your own now comes out of Woodcut, down the National Pit Straight, in towards the right-hander of Cops, the old turn 1, 2008 Hamilton and Cobalt Line, and famously nearly making contact through there. Cops taken flat out these days as your own now comes in towards the most fearsome section on the track. Kvyat famously having his puncture there in 2020. He's now come through Maggots and Beckett's and then out of Chapel. Very, very on the limit there from your own. And a 101.7 in the middle sector is absolutely lightning quick compared to what we're normally used to. There are yellow flags just ahead of him out on the circuit. Don't worry about that at all. Just drivers preparing for their laps. Hopefully they get out of the way before your own gets them. Now in toward the Vale Chicane at turns 16 and 17. This has looked a very good lap, I've got to say, from your own. Absolutely hooked up to the line. Gets caught in the sausage curve there slightly on the right-hand side through Club Corner on the run to the line. And a 24.9 dead on to start off the night is not a bad way to start.
That is pretty good from him as well. Fast is everywhere so far. And then his teammate for tonight, Sangama, goes in into P1 and Jensen in the 125s there as well. Expect lap times to be even quicker around this circuit, where a track where we could see the sauce being used more than the mediums and the hards potentially as well. The top guys could potentially take the gamble as more times are going on the board. You go faster. No, you go faster. As Aurelian is the fastest man on circuit with a 24.823. 26 laps await our drivers here tonight. 5.891 kilometres long, 3.66 miles. As our Challengers winner from around this circuit, Bradders, goes fastest as well. Abbey did not used to be there until around about December of 2009, where they used to make quite a lot of track modifications then as well. It used to be a different part of the circuit as well. Even Cops used to be turn 1, which I prefer because it was quite fast. But obviously Abbey's turn 1 now heading through Farm and into Village, and it's quite an iconic circuit as well. Anyone else on the lap time? We got Kaziddle, who I think is down a little bit, but we see what we could do.
Oh.
Nope, he's not. I spoke too soon. He's just consistent in every sector, even though he's not fast in every sector. 124.798 for the Alfa Romeo driver, which is about a few thousandths quicker than Bradders in B2. Louis, unfortunately, did invalidate his run, but everyone else has set a valid lap time.
Yeah, very good lap time actually from Kazizzle. He's only 7,000th of a second ahead of Bradders. Kazizzle, of course, third in the Challengers race around here. It was event 4 in the console side for PS, certainly. And Kazizzle finished third that day too. The man who's in second at the minute in Bradders Bradders, of course, up there. Aurelian and Blackbox also competed, I believe, along with Keane in that race. So we're getting the fair share of the who's who toward the top end of the field from the Challenger Series, certainly. Because there's a low out on top, Bradders there in second, Aurelian there in third. But look at the top 8. They're covered by, what, less than a tenth of a second. 96 hundredths of a second, I'll make that between Kazizzle and Markados. Add into that your own on the 24.9, and then you've got 9 drivers covered by a tenth of a second. Very, very close indeed. Watch out, by the way, for Jerry Van Bussel. Down in 18th position. Jensen as well, not really getting a valid lap time really on the board. Ryan and Lars only separated by a thousandth of a second, but it's so close early on here in PSF1. And of course, if you're tuning in, no, you're not what me or anyone here tonight. They're going to be with you on Wednesday night for PCF1, so don't get confused with the PS and the PC sides, but it's because this is allowed on top. It's Bradders there in second, and Aurelian there in third. And let's hope, Jess, we get some really good action towards the second half of qualifying as well. First runs are done, and everyone, I think, is now back into the pit lane. Bob Rotterdale is now actually transferring his way in, and we've got a Mercedes coming out the pit lane. I'm led to believe it is the championship leader, Markados.
Yes, it is the championship leader of Markados, a man who did struggle at the opening half of F1 22, but started to improve game after game. And now Markados on F1 23, and he absolutely loves it. He's past Aintree and the loop, and the loop corner is difficult for a lot of reasons, because the traction on the exit is harder. Not as hard as previous games. On F1 22, by the way, I think you could speak from previous experience. It's absolutely difficult, but it's fun for lovely, aggressive battles as well, so something to watch out for here as well. And also another fact around this circuit, as we're running on board with Mercedes, it wasn't just a hybrid era that Mercedes dominated around Silverstone. It was 1955 as well, where Mercedes dominated around this circuit. Juan Manuel Fangio won here, went on to claim the third of his 5 world titles that year, but he didn't win that year at British Grand Prix in Aintree. It was won by Sterling Moss back in the day as well. So I wonder if Markados is going to be turning fortunes there too in that Mercedes, as he's trying to warm his tyres up, slowing up a little bit. He's got the track to himself, so he can go as slow as he wants as he's about to start his laps. We've got Kazizzle fastest. This kind of reminds me of F1 esports, because all the top 9 are separated by less than a tenth of a second. It's absolutely crazy. Let us know who you think is going to get pole position. I can't call it at the moment because they're all within almost 5/10 of a second.
Robbie there saying in the chat, by the way, Harry Lewis should be an F1 SMH new upcoming talent. No, it is Schumacher, if you're wondering who that might be, under a new alias. As Markados is not under a new alias, he is in the new team, however, of course, of OP, recently joined in the past couple of months. The Markados now coming through Abbey Farm at turns 1 and 2, and then into the right-hander for turn number 3 at Villages. Because there's a lad on top, though. Bradders there in second, Aurelian there in third. Tom also saying in the chat, Blackbox, Kazizzle and Bradders going to set the same time again. Potentially, they qualified, I think, level pegging in challenges and qualifying, and they ended up being separated by about 4.5 seconds out on track. Markados is up in the first sector, 400 up coming through the first sector. I'm seeing, though, on the mini-map, certainly, there's a lot of traffic coming through the middle sector, especially through Maggots and Beckets and in towards Chapel. And Markados is a little way off that at the minute. He's done a little bit of clear air, a clear patch between a Red Bull, I think, and that Red Bull, I think, is Marlon, if I'm not mistaken. Markados now coming through Cops Corner. There is the Red Bull of Marlon just on the left-hand side, gets out of the way neatly, and now Markados, if he doesn't get any traffic in towards Vale and Club, this should be quite a clear run for him, but I'm very concerned that he's going to pick up on traffic, and there's going to be a bit of impeding here as Markados through the middle sector, 101.7. They better get out of his way down the straight and quick, because he is purple in that middle sector, fastest of everyone in the middle, about a tenth and a half up as well, so Markados really trying to get this lap time on the board. Not hardly any traffic there, luckily in towards Vale and Club. This is looking very, very good for Markados, and that comes through in the left-hander, through the right-hander now of Vale and Club, and then towards Club Corner at turn 18 on the run to the line. Markados, does he go quickest? Yes, he does, by a good 500th of a second. Ahead of Kazizzle, Bradders there in third, and he's actually just started his lap in front of him. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. And by the way, Markados set the fastest final sector, but he didn't set the fastest first sector. That belongs to Kazizzle, currently in second place. So it shows how close it is at the moment. We'll keep an eye on Bradders as he passes the loop section currently here at PSGL round 3 of this championship, which I have to say, thank you to those of you
who have joined us so far. If you are liking the action that you are seeing at the moment, make sure you leave it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell, and also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PremierSimGL, where you can keep up to date on all the latest news which are PSGL related. We have 6 stream tiers on the PC, 8 on the PS. So I'm sure you're not going to be stopped by a lot of action currently. We've got more people crossing the line to either start their lap or finish their lap. Let's watch Jerry Van Bussell going towards Stowe Corner. I think he's looking for redemption here tonight because obviously he got second place taken away from him after his penalty last week, as Jerry Van Bussell goes up to the line. Only puts him in P14, 2/10 off a pole. But with this high caliber grid, Hurley puts him towards the back of the grid. That's not good. Let's keep an eye on Bradders, James.
Yeah, Bradders indeed is coming through the final couple of quarters. In fact, he's just finished his lap, 24.787. He's there in fourth position. Didn't actually improve, I think, on that lap. But yeah, Black Box has gone quickest. Just about to say that. On the tip of my tongue, Black Box goes quickest by 100th of a second ahead of Marketals. Rallying there in third. Kazizzle might be the one to watch out for. He's actually invalidated, however, and there is a car off on the right-hand side of him. That's a Red Bull off, but Kazizzle invalidating that run, 25 flat. It's going to be down to the final runs, potentially, for most of these guys. I think everyone has pretty much done some. Gamer also improving up to 7th recently as well. Volakongan is not on a run. I don't think anybody is on a run at this stage. No, nobody is on a run at this stage. The second runs are pretty much done. Quite a lot of invalidations. You normally see that toward the end of the session. But Black Box out on top. Marketals there in second and Rallying there in third. And Black Box has been a little bit of a slow burner so far this season. Of course, finished all the way down the field, I think in 19th position, if I'm not mistaken, in Brazil last week. He did a fantastic job up until that point. He got caught in early carnage. That's why he ended up further down the field. And in the championship, Jess, he is all the way down. In fact, I can't even see him on my graphic. That's how far down he is. He's 24th, I believe, in the standings. No points to his name. And now he's on pole position in Britain.
Yes, I have to say, he hasn't performed to the best of his ability currently, but at least he's back in this championship and wanting to make a name of himself, and you never know, Silverstone can change that. And I think a lot of people have been asking in the questions that Silverstone is a track that they really enjoy. We even said at the beginning of the season, what tracks do they like? A lot of them said Silverstone, which I can understand why they pick Silverstone as well. Aurelian says Silverstone is his favourite track in recent F1 game cycles, so he wants to try and score some good points. Marlon also feeling good at the moment, but he's only down in 17th position. Jensen likes his track as a fun track, but he hasn't had much practice until a few hours before the race, which probably explains why he's in last place right now. Yossi at the moment, who's back racing, he says the track he's looking forward to racing. He'll try to finish in the top 5, but again, not much training going to this one. So it's a common theme, James. Not much practice has gone into this, and usually it happens to a lot of drivers. If people like this track, they don't tend to practice, but they can't do that. They have to practice for everything, because surely every driver wants to get better and better and better.
Yeah, and these guys, to be honest, run in multiple leagues, I think, during the week as well. So they have to practice for different leagues at different times of the day. And, I mean, look at the level of practice that's been put in. I know Volakongan's put quite a lot of practicing coming in tonight. He's there in 11th. Compare that to Yossi, who hasn't done any practice. He's down in 12th. And compare that to Jensen, who's down at the back end of the field in 19th. Practice sometimes makes perfect on this game. You don't have to be a perfectionist in F1 23 to know that these guys do put the effort in, they put the time in, and it's brilliant to watch out for. Blackhawks still out on top, Marketals there in second, and Rallying there in third. Jensen is going to be the first man to start up on the final runs. He's coming in toward the Vale and Club chicane. Oh, sorry, the Vale chicane, I should say, turn 16 and 17. You can see his car actually on the right-hand side on the big screen, which is unbelievable. As Jensen now comes through with the Irish flag looking overloomed. Maybe the Evan and Mole support there, potentially, in terms of that. Bellingham saying he wants Dowds to win. Unfortunately, Dowds is not here tonight. It's Cameron Dowds. I think he's on about in F2. And I hope he's supporting the younger brother of the Bellinghams rather than the older one, i.e. Joby, who's at Sunderland. As Jensen now comes in towards turn 3 and then in towards Village and the loop at turn number 4 and then in towards Daintree at turn number 5. It's Black Box, Marketers, and Aurelian Cohen in the top 3. As Aurelian Jensen, I should say, comes down the straight, down the Wellington straight, of course, and the first sector split 27.1. Nowhere near what I've been seeing. Aurelian 27 flat, I think I saw earlier on. Jensen is nearly 2/10 off that at this best, and he's nearly off that as well. So he has a huge moment coming out of left field with the cloud really looming over the circuit. Jensen, he's going to get one more run in, but he'd be lucky if he does.
I think there's a few more behind him now on laps currently as well. Tim being one of them, past Woodcut and heading in towards Cop's Corner, which is a lot easier on this game. Make sure you turn in past the 50-metre board, so make sure that you can go flat out. You've got to nail that setter, because otherwise it can cause a little bit of issues. Currently, as my telemetry tool is not telling me who's fastest in each sector at the moment, which is very annoying, as all Tim got very squirmy going through the hangar straight, which is going to cost him quite a bit here. Heading towards Stowe Corner then for the final time potentially for Tim. And he's invalidated through Stowe's Corner, which is so easy to do. Not many people are either improving or setting final lap times. Jerome has also invalidated his run. So I think it'll be Ryan and Kian that will be on runs next. So we'll keep an eye on them as Kian pass into the loop and heading towards Aintree. Oh, I think, no, it's Aintree, then the loop. I always get confused as to what corner numbers are what. It's very confusing, but now he goes past the Wellington straight anyway. But we've got not that long to go until the end of the session. We've got 1 minute to go. Kian, 26.9 in the middle sector. Matches Kaziddle's fastest first sector.
He does indeed. Ryan, by the way, is the first man on a run, 27.2 in the first sector, looking nowhere near what you expect from the guys in top tier. The cloud cover beginning to build over the circuit, potentially a little bit colder tyres in this race as Ryan now comes through this middle sector split. He's barely 200 up. He's showing purple in the middle sector. That is nowhere near purple in that middle sector. So we'll flick on board with Keane, who's through Maggots and Beckett in the McLaren coming through. He's much quicker, I've got to say, than Ryan. And a 101.6, I think, is the fastest middle sector we've seen all night. So the McLaren now on the run down in towards Stowe at turn number 15. And he's going to try. Gentleman tyres back into the pit lane, I believe.
Marcos is purple.
Marcos purple as well, and he's coming out of the first sector, I think, in towards Cops. Keane now coming through the final couple of corners on the run to line. Marcos actually go quickest, but for how long? Because Keane's going to put him up there, and he does. He beats him. 24.7 flat. Brilliant lap by Keane. Marcos there in second. Black Box also improving. 101.663 in the middle sector. That is not enough at the minute for Paul, but he's going to get darn close as Keane now comes in toward Vale. Now in toward Vale now at turn 16 and 17. We'll see what Black Box can do. Is this the miracle man? Do you believe in Black Box? Black Box now comes through the final corner on the run to line, and he beats them absolutely brilliantly. 24.576. Keane in second, Marganos in third, and Wellington line goes second. Big lap time from the Frenchman, likes the track. Black Brothers, however, 101.650 in the middle sector, so he's improving by a 10.5. This is going to be very close as he runs wide, coming out of Vale through Club Corner. Brothers on the run to line, goes second, not enough to beat Black Box. I think everyone is off a lap. Kazizzle's still on a lap, 101.7 in the middle sector. Jerome Bustle there retiring through the first sector. Kazizzle now coming through the final couple of corners on the run to line. I don't think it's enough. It's not. He does improve up to 6th position, barely 5,000 to the second off Marketos. More improvements coming. Sam Gamer as well is 2.5 tenths up. Where's Sam Gamer coming from at this lap?
Pole? Yes, he does!
Sam Gamer absolutely from a bolt out of the blue gets pole position. Where on earth did that come from? That is shocking for me. Just flicked on board with him. 2.5 tenths up. Sam Gamer top. Black Box second. Brad is in third. We thought we believed in Black Box, believe in a new man, a kid on the block, and it's Sam Gamer.
There's not much difference between the top three. Sam Gamer was fastest in the middle sector, 34.607, and P2 was a 34.647 and 641. It was so close in those middle sectors, but it takes a small margin for Sam Gamer to get pole. He qualified third in race 1, but he got screwed over to Sam Gamer. It was very unfortunate. It was around Brazil. Now he's on the best situation possible. He's going to be on pole. He's going to be absolutely loving it. And let's see if he could get the run into Abbey. That's going to be the crucial thing. Everyone else is going to dive it in to the pit. But we have a different pole sitter for today's British Grand Prix.
And do you know what? Sam Gamer is part of the lineup for Legacy Division tomorrow night, which I'm looking forward to now, because he's on pole position here. The ET8 man out on top absolutely shocked us. I just clicked on board with him, thinking he's not doing much. He's 2.5 tenths up out of the middle sector, and he beats Black Box by nearly 300ths of a second. Brilliant that by the Canadian. Black Box there in second, Brad is in third, and Rallying there in fourth, and look at how close they were. Top four covered by less than a tenth of a second. You don't see that too often around here. Kian there in fifth, looking to try and get a little bit of retribution from his start of the season so far. Markados in sixth, Kazizzle there in seventh, Louis there in eighth, Marlon there in ninth, Bolakongan in 10th, and it's Tim in 11th, Lars in 12th, Jeroen in 13th. Yossi a bit disappointing there in 14th, maybe the practice telling. Stefano there in 15th, Jerry Van Bussel in 16th, and Ryan, Radadal and Jensen rounding off the top 19. Breathless qualifying session, and I think it's about time we hear from our sponsors, Jess.
Yes, let's have a quick word from our title sponsors for this season, GT Omega. We will see you in 30 seconds. Hello everybody and welcome back to PSGL, and what a qualifying we just had. We thought that the likes of Black Box and Aurelian had it, but Sam Gamer was like, no, I'm going to change that, go 2 tenths quicker than everybody else in every sector, and he smashed it and put it on to pole position. We always like to see surprises at PSGL. I hope you are looking forward to some action around a very overcast Silverstone currently in round number 3 of the championship. Sam's only a reserve, remember, so I think we need something to watch out for him, but let's hope he can survive turn 1 this time, because he didn't last time.
Well, it's flat out. As long as he doesn't have anybody on the inside of him, I think it'll be no problem at all. I think Sam will obviously rectify the issues from Brazil, come back fighting than ever. We talked about retribution with Markados. It is retribution for Sam Gamer. That pole position just proves that. He's very quick around here. Kian, by the way, holds a world record around here at the minute in crossplay with a 1:24.5, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. Sam Gamer, though, absolutely blitzing everyone out of the park. Dirk there saying these times are super quick, really good. Way saying madness, and Noah saying Sam my goat. I totally agree with all 3 of them.
So
comments.
close.
Don't know when the... So close. So close. I don't know when the race is going to start, by the way. Oh, it's actually starting now. The 5 red lights are about to go out here in Silverstone for round number 3 of the championship, and it is... Right, and away we go, and Sam Gaming gets a very good start. Black Box alongside him as well, but Sam will hold the lead in towards turn 1 and already pulls away by about a tenth of a second. Black Box there in second, Brad is there in third. Everyone's through Abbey and Farm safely in towards the first pinch point of the circuit now at the loop. Is now Markados diving down the inside line, and he's involved in contact. Markados is involved in contact. The rallying round, Yossi round as well. Surely there might be a VSC or a safety car to VSC already. Tim caught up in that as well in the Williams, but Markados pinch point of the circuit. I literally said it just there. On the inside line, I think he spun, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Yossi that he spun and all that. VSC deployed out on track, and Sam Gamer's out on top. Black Box in second, Brad is there in third, but the first pinch point in the circuit, Jess, catches out the championship leader.
And that was, I think, through farm and village as well. So easy to get your car lost through there as well, and they made a lot of contact. And Markados is our championship leader. He may not be championship leader after this, as this was a very short safety car. Louis through Cop's corner, sends it down the inside, and it's up into 5th place. Louis has had a terrific start in this race, and he's had a good qualifying as well. And if you have a good qualifying, you're more than likely going to be having a good race if you don't get involved in carnage as they head towards the hangar straight. Marlon looking quite racy as well as we head towards Stowe Corner, but no DRS activated yet. Great to see quite a lot of drivers on the hard compounded tyres. We will get the hard, the compounded tyres. Showing in a minute. Here comes Marlon as well. Kazizzle and Bradders going side by side as well. Let's watch that. Kazizzle through club. Beautiful move from him, and he's up into 3rd place past Bradders. They're all quite equal on pace, which will be interesting to see. The 3 troublemakers of Bolakonga, Yossi and Tim have come in. I think Markados might have got away with that in terms of damage. we got a mixed bag of tyres. Most people have gone for hards. Kazizzle has gone for the softs, which is unsurprising, because he's gained quite a few positions. Aurelian's got on the softs, and Yossi's going to be putting on to hards. And then we got Louis. Oh, Kazizzle's going to try and go for a move into Brooklyn's, past Black Box on those fresher rubber on softs, and he does it up into second place. And bearing in mind, softs is around 4/10 quicker than the mediums, so you would expect Kazizzle to be quick.
Yeah, definitely. So, to be honest, because this is there looking like a rocket ship out of Mars on a collision course, potentially with Sam Gamer, and towards turn number 9 now at Cops. He's 5.5 tenths off him. You'll get that if you're a Queen fan. Sam Gamer out on top, Kazizzle second, Black Box there in third. Brad is there in fourth. Louis Valentine, by the way, absolutely jumped Ian off the restart. A rally in the side-by-side with Jensen in the foreground of shot as well, and he's actually through on Jensen, through Maggots and Beckett just before that series of corners. But interesting strategy calls, actually. Sam Gamer going for the mediums, Kazizzle going for the softs. Clearly think that there's either A, rain on the way, or B, it's the quicker strategy. I think it's B, the quicker strategy. PCF1 showing this to full effect as well, of course, on Wednesday around here. Drivers saying, people saying in the chat about the driving silence, I completely agree. I think it was a bit hectic, certainly on the first lap. Now things are calming down. Now we're getting into the rhythm once again. Hopefully drivers will sense that, and hopefully drivers might just change it into a bit of a tactical race rather than go gung-ho into the battles and then ending up potentially with slap risks and penalties on their shoulders. As a rallying on the back of Ryan in the mid-pack, coming in toward the Village and the Loop, turn number 4. He's not going to get the job done. Somebody that might, though, Jess, is Louis Valentine on the back of Bradders, right down the Wellington Straight on the International Straight. We now come through in toward Brooklands, and Louis Valentine on that set of mediums cannot find the way through, but looks to try and get the switch back out of Luffield. Does not get the job done, but Sam out on top because this is the second, Black Box in third. But we said it now was no certainly. Drivers might choose a set of soft compounded tyres for the quicker strategy. I said that, and Kazizzle is one. He's there in second. He's 3 tenths off Sam Gamer.
Yes, a lot of moves being made at the moment, and I have to say, Sam playing it smart on the mediums. If you're starting on pole position, being on a quicker tyre is much more beneficial because you can really start to pull away that gap, and then later on when you're on those hard tyres, then you can really start to solidify your lead potentially as well. And I have to say, I've driven on the hards around this track before in many ranked races, and they do look pretty good to drive, as Aurelian passes Ryan on those set of softs up into 13th position, and I wonder if there's going to be any threat of rain or whether it's going to stay as it is. But pretty much everyone from first down to 16th is in that long DRS train, which could make things very, very intense as they all head towards through Abbey at the moment. An instant where we saw Joe almost got tipped back in 2020 year 2, but luckily he was A-okay as well. I think Alexander Albon got involved in that crash as well. Let's hope Louis doesn't get involved in that crash as well. And other things that happened around here. In 2008, it was very wet around here, like we saw in F2. So I wonder if we're going to see something similar here as well. Lots of things can change the course of this race. And of course, we could have some safety cars. We had one safety car already. We had a VSC, but let's hope they could keep the standards a lot better than they can at the moment. Through Cops Corner they come. They're within DRS range now because they're on lap 426, and they're still trying to save their battery because this is a track, James, where they can get 70% full throttle, and that means a lot of ERS can be used, and that means ERS management, it's got to be key, isn't it?
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm on board with Kian, and he's got 84% of ERS to try and burn in the early stages of this race. He's not going to burn them immediately. We're just going to sit, I think, in a big old DRS train until the pit stops actually happen. But in terms of the position gains, Kian's actually lost 1. Most positions gained, though, out of the top 10, at least. Jerry Van Bussel gaining 7 up to 9th position from 16th on the grid. Kazizzle's gained 5. Jeroen gaining 5 there as well. Way saying about the position gains there in the chat, as the Aston Martin of Jeroen is on the back of Moreland. Just maybe a little bit of a split beginning to happen between 7th and 8th position, or 6th and 7th position, as Jeroen now going to fly to the inside line, gets the job done, and that is just too silly. Moreland moving across him into the braking zone. Hard to pinpoint who might have been at fault there. Jeroen was so wide coming out of turn number 1, though. He put himself offline, and he looked to try and get the job done. He knew what was going to happen. Marlon, I think, knew what was going to happen. He tried to come across too late, and Jeroen now is going to possibly get the move done on Jensen running down in toward Brooklands. Jensen actually trying to get the job done on Marlon. Both these in contact, and Jensen gets the job done, but not for long, because Marlon's going to try and hook this around the outside in toward Luffield once again. Jensen, I think, is just going to come out on top. But Marlon with that traction on the outside line. We're going to see Leclerc and Hamilton style. No, we're not, because Jensen now pulls away from Marlon, running down in towards Cop's corner. Jensen there in 13th, Marlon in 14th. But yeah, Jeroen so far off wide coming through Abbey and Farm. He put himself in that position because he basically put the car in a wrong position for turn number 3. Marlon tried to cut across. He could have crossed too late. Might be a racing incident, might be a penalty coming either their way, to be honest.
I think the stewards could be very busy through the opening few laps of this race and this lap as well. So the drivers obviously got to keep it a little cleaner. But for most of them, they've done a great job indeed. And bearing in mind, the drop-off for these mediums is a bit longer than you would expect compared to the last game. The optimum pace around here, around about 11 laps before we expect to see the medium runners go on and twist out the hard compound of tyres as well. And will we see, because it'll do soft to mediums? We've seen that in other races on this game as well, where we've seen people do that. It's paid off to some degree, but the mediums can wear out very, very quickly. So they've got to use their tyres effectively to their optimum pace. Once they get past the optimum pace, it's about managing those tyres and making sure the tyres don't fall off, because otherwise they're going to be in a spot of trouble. Now, it is getting a bit darker here at Silverstone, unless my eyes are deceiving me at the moment, around this circuit. Past the national pitch straight goes Black Box, who's currently sitting in 3rd place. The top 3 remaining unbudged at the moment. They're just keeping it steady at the moment. By the way, this is the part of the circuit where we saw famous punchers in the early, I think, 2020s. We saw Daniel Kvyat get punches, Bottas and Lewis Hamilton managed to go for, I think, half the middle sector and into the final sector with a puncher. He still managed to win the race because the gap was that far further back. Hopefully we won't see something similar here, but it shows that it can be done potentially to that extreme.
It definitely can, and obviously with the rain around the circuit normally, Jeroen's passing Marlon in, and Marlon's gone off in towards the wall, going off onto the grass. I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't see the point of contact. I'm not sure if he lost it by himself or if Jeroen may have just put him out there. Either or, there's going to be a penalty maybe coming the way once again if that was contact. What was bad to say, though, was Black Box on the back of Kazizel, 2nd and 3rd. If I was in Black Box's shoes right now, as the sun's actually beginning to come through the clouds, I think we are going to get a dry race here. Black Box there in 3rd. If I was him right now, I'd actually put the pressure on Kazizel right here, right now, running down the Wellington Straight, because he's got the pace at the minute to try and live with Sam Gamer. And he needs to put himself in that position before the pit stop, because A, he's going to be caught on the backwash behind Kazizel. Kazizel's going to bring everyone back towards Jerry Van Bussel and Lars and the likes, and all of that is going to be outside of a second. And then the undercut comes into a fray, and then you're playing catch-up once again. So Black Box there in 3rd. If I was in his shoes right now, I'd really go for this move. Kian the same as well on the back of Louis Valentin. He's on that set of hards, looking pretty comfortable. I've got to say, on 95% of ERS, there is a yellow flag, and there's Marlon again round coming through Lovefields. That's unfortunate for him. Maybe just overheating the tyres after that incident. Marlon putting pay to his chances in this race. But Sam Gamer leading, Kazizel 2nd, Black Box there in 3rd. Black Box is not close enough to Kazizel this time around, but everyone's sitting in a big old DRS train, really, at this stage. Looking through the chat as well, plenty of people actually questioning some of the driving standards. There's a bit of banter going on. Alex the G's not coming out with any puns so far at this stage. I did see his Baguetto one that was used a little bit early on, used last night, which was used again in this one. Talk about trying to turn your puns into something else and trying to take it out of context, Alex. But some came out on top. Kazizel 2nd, Black Box there in 3rd, and no moves happening so far in the British Grand Prix. Everyone just sitting pretty ready for the pit stops.
Yeah, it's a bit quiet at this stage, and I think the most important thing to watch out for will be the tyre drop-off, which on most circuits, the soft tyres is quite early, but around Silverstone, due to the fact that they're running the lowest tyre compound possible, on the Pirelli range, that means they can last their tyres a bit longer. The tyre wear around their degradation is not too bad as well, one of the lowest on the Formula 1 calendar, so again they can stretch it a little bit. There has been a few games where you could get the hardest compounded tyre available for the entire race, but obviously you will have to do that as well. But it depends on what tyres you go on to. It depends on what tyre wear affects them, because for some tyres it doesn't last long at all, but for softs it lasts a bit longer here, but it does depend on whether they're on optimum pace or not. they could be struggling, even though we say that they're not. So there we go, as some people could be struggling there. But anyway, Khalil heading towards the final few corners, and he's about 3 tenths behind Sam Gamer. I have to say, Sam Gamer doing a splendid job so far. Definitely the pace that we're used to seeing. I'm used to seeing him in other leagues. It's great to see him return to League Racing and to PSGL as well, doing a stellar job as well, filling in for the Aston Martins. As Jensen has gone off. Jensen has gone off into the Hamilton straight.
Left side end plate damage as well.
Yeah, so that's a bit of damage there. Surely he'll have to come in to the pits very, very soon, I think, to get a change of end plate potentially. Or maybe he may want to do a 2-stop. Maybe he's hoping for a safety car. Yossi and Tim going side by side through Stowe Corner. Nicely little job from Yossi and Tim there, keeping it very, very clean as well. And yeah, this is going to be quite intriguing to see who's going to make the jump first. We know Khalil's going to jump first, but I think I have to say, if I was either Louis or Sam, I think it'll be Louis that will go and pit first. He usually does. He's right in the middle as well. And with the track getting, I think, a little bit hotter in terms of the track temperature, I think this will be very key to get those tyres up to temperature very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So Louis Valentine having 5th position. To be honest, I was going to say, until I realised that he was on a set of mediums, that he can go for another set of mediums, but he can't. So I would have said he could have put it in the same time as Kazizel. There is a move happening further down the field. Championship leader Markedos currently outside of the points at the minute in 13th position, now ahead of Yaron, passing him very easily down the straight there in towards Stowe. Very much a job done for the OP man. He's got 1.6 seconds to catch on the back of Ryan. Everyone taking a bit of a plumb in terms of the DRS train at the minute. There is a split happening between Stefano and Lars at the minute. So 8th and 9th position could be where the split is potentially going to happen. Kazizel, to be fair, he's not really doing much for the tyres. He's on 91% of ERS coming through Village and in toward the loop. And if I were in his shoes right now, I'd actually think about coming in probably in the next 3 or 4 laps, I think, at this point, as Jensen's into the pit lane to repair that front wing damage, maybe even to retire the car as well. He's expecting, at the minute, a safety car to come out. It looks very unlikely we're going to get one, given the standards of driving in recent laps, apart from, of course, the first couple of laps. So Sam Gamer leading the way from Kazizel in second, Blackhawks down third. Yeah, everyone's just sitting pretty right at the front end of the field. There is a potential battle happening for 6th and 7th in this back of this DRS train. Jerry Van Bussel and Kian. Jerry Van Bussel, of course, F2 champion last season. Kian, of course, part of the brilliant pairing that I think he was with Max, if I'm not mistaken, last season. Jess, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. He was with Max and he was Constructors champion last season in the Red Bull, if I'm not mistaken. So Kian there in 6th. Jerry there in 7th. That silence, I think, is deafening because I've got that right. Jerry Van Bussel on the back
I'm
there.
I'm looking at the moment. I think they were together, but I believe they were in the Haas, not the Red Bull.
In the Haas. Do you know what it is? I think it's Max that's in the Red Bull this season. I'm thinking.
Yeah, Max is in the Red Bull this season. So yeah, and I'm just trying to see who were constructors. It wasn't Haas that was in there. Was it Cedar? I'm trying to remember. I think it was Ferrari that won the constructors last season. It wasn't Haas.
It wasn't Haas. It might have been the season before, season 32.
No, I was completely wrong. It was Max and Frankie that were teammates. I can't remember what team. Oh yeah, Kian was reserve, wasn't he, towards the end of last season?
He was.
You can tell we're losing it here. Oh, God.
Well, tell you somebody that's not losing it, though. It's Rodadal getting the move done on Stefano. Down in towards Brooklands. Gets the job done in the McLaren. He's through, and he's into 9th position. Jerry Van Bussel on the back of Keane as well. Very close to contact there. Going on the exit of the love field, just in the foreground of shot. But Rodadal getting that job done. He's doing his inside. Of course, former NLR man, now part of the TF10 team. He's doing a good job at this stage. Way saying there in the chat, Max isn't here. Yeah, we know he's not here at this stage. I was just trying to point out the bit of the fact. Frankie as well. Yeah, well, not sure where he's gone at this moment in time. I think he might be on PC, if I'm not mistaken, is Frankie the last time I heard from him. Kazizel now nearly dropping outside of a second to Sam Gamer, though, in the meantime. That might mean Kazizel could make a break into the pit lane this lap around. We'll see if he dives right into the pit lane. Rain's still not falling on the circuit. It looks like it's going to be overcast for the majority of the race, but Kazizel now beginning to lose time. This is where the crossover period becomes between the mediums and the softs. However, totally off cuff, Jerry Van Bussel is into the pit lane. Right down
Aurelian
in 6th or 7th position. Aurelian into the pit lane, I'm not surprised, but Jerry Van Bussel into the pit lane a little bit earlier than what we have predicted, in for a set of medium compounded tyres. He was down in, what, 7th position behind Kian before these guys come in the pit lane. Now remember, it's a slower pit lane around here on this game. It used to be 50 mile an hour, now 37 mile an hour on this game. And Jerry Van Bussel diving out of the pit lane. His black box is going to get the job done on Kazizel. I talked about the tyres going off, and is he struggling, or has he got maybe something wrong with his
It's the
setup? I don't know
crossover.
what's
It's a
going on.
crossover, James. It's the crossover between the softs and the mediums that I was talking about as well. We were thinking when was a crossover point as well, and it is right now. The optimum pace was only about 8 or 9 laps, and Kazizel did a great job to get those tyres lasting optimal for that long for him, so he must be managing his tyres right and saving it. But now everyone is trying to catch up to Kazizel, and the pace is definitely falling off him. So it's definitely, I think, tyre degradation more than anything else, I think, for him. But Brad is going to breeze past. But I think that might be more of a problem for him, because I thought Kazizel will be fighting him, or maybe Kazizel potentially could come into the pits right now. If I was him, I would come in, because the likes of Aurelian came in. So yes, Kazizel is into the pits. Let's keep an eye on Aurelian, because he was on the soft compounded tyres, and I have to agree, James. I don't get why Jerry Van Bussel went on, didn't go onto the mediums a bit later. Your own 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. This won't be the last one we see.
It's going to cost him as well, because Marlon, I think, he's not going to troop into the pit lane this lap around, but Jerry Van Bussel is going to be there or thereabouts with Kazizel coming out the pit lane. He's going for this big undercut that I talked about, certainly, in my strategy notes. Jerry Van Bussel going for this big undercut. Kazizel's coming towards the end of the pit lane. This is going to be extraordinarily close on the exit of the pit lane. I think he's going to be ahead coming out of the pits. There's Jerry Van Bussel, there's Kazizel, and Jerry Van Bussel is ahead of Kazizel. So I got that one right. Jerry Van Bussel now ahead. Undercut strategy on, and now he's in the net P2 in this race. He's right on the back, of course, of Marlon. 3.9 seconds the gap. He's got clear air in front of him. This is the time now, and I'm going to use Alex for G's pun for this one. Okay. It's Jerry Van Bussel now, not Jerry Van Bussel.
I have to say, if I could think of a better pun duo, it'll probably be you and Alex, James, as well. Alex in the chat and you with me in the commentary box. But yeah, I have to say, James getting it spot on in terms of the undercut. Brad is getting past Black Box into P2, so Brad is managing his tyres better than Black Box. I wonder if Black Box is going to go for an early pit stop at the moment. Yes, he is right on cue. There we go. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I wonder if he's going to follow Jerry Van Bussel's lead. And he's only going to be on 1 lap older tyres than Jerry Van Bussel. So it's going to be quite close. I think I won't be surprised to see the likes of Jerry Van Bussel, because it'll go ahead. And look at that. They're only in Stowe Corner right now. So they're going to be miles ahead, those two. And I have to say, if you haven't pitted now and you're on those hard tyres, you're going to be scuffed. And Sam Gamer and Louis, surely those two are going to probably stretch out by a set of soft tyres, surely.
They've got to. They've got to if they've got a chance of winning this race. They're going to be miles behind. Keane's going to be behind Lars coming out the pit lane, which is where I thought he might filter out in.
Black Box is miles behind.
Yeah, Black Box miles behind. Black Box filters out ahead of Kean, luckily. Aurelian there involved in this battle as well. He's jumped ahead of Stefano and Jeroen in the pit lane, so that is good from his perspective. And the Frenchman looking to try and get on the podium for the first time this season. But the gap to the leader, Sam Gamer to Jerry Van Bussel, 28.3 seconds. I was watching F2 a little bit earlier on, and there was a gap very similar to this, about 28.3 seconds. The gap, of course, is closing down now with Jerry Van Bussel right on the back of Marlon. But that gap at the minute, Sam Gamer, if it's a 30-second pit stop as Louis Valentine gets through on Bradders down in towards Stowe, if that is a 30-second pit stop, Sam Gamer is going to be lucky to come ahead of Black Box and Kean here. He is going to be really under the cosh. He's going to have to fresher tyres toward the end, but they are really going to struggle. Sam Gamer pushing out for another lap. Louis the same, Bradders the same as well, Rotterdam doing the same, Markadal's doing the same, so they all stay out. Ryan's the only one to come in the pit lane. Marlon now side by side with Jerry Van Bussel. Jerry Van Bussel is through on Marlon, so that is one ticked off the clock, and now we can put the brakes on Kazizel's chances to pick up on a podium as well. This, I don't know who was dealt the hand here from Jerry Van Bussel. If he's got a race engineer behind him, I tell you what, his engineer is doing one hell of a job. This undercut is so powerful. And look at how Marlon is slow compared to Kazizzle. Kazizzle's going to have to go, ideally, for the move in towards Abby. He can't. Ryan's going to be miles behind in all of this battle as well. And Kazizzle now is stuck behind Marlon. This is the worst place to be.
He's going to lose a lot of time as well, and you do not want to get caught up in traffic as well. And what a move from Kazizzle there. He had to do it through the loop, and he definitely did that. And he's going to be trying to catch up to Jay Van Bussell now, but he's lost quite a lot of time. So problems will be arising for Kazizzle, but it is not over, and he's almost within DRS as well. And Way saying in the chat that hards could work till the end of the race, so you never know. Sam Gamer could go on hards, and I have to agree with Way. Hards is good around here, like I was saying earlier as well. But let's know your predictions on who you think is going to win this race. Sam Gamer's staying out yet again, so I think he has no option but to go on the soft tyres. If he goes on any other tyres, he's probably screwed. But Louis and Bradders comes in. Bradders, I think, will go on a set of mediums. What's happened?
They've actually collided coming into the pit lane. Bradders has picked up a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Louis Valentin. On top of that, Louis Valentin has picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits, and I think there's left side end plate damage on Bradders' car.
Yeah, it is.
If I'm not mistaken. He hasn't got it changed. If he has, if there's left side end plate damage on the car, I'm just trying to see with my eyesight if he has. He hasn't. I think there might be a winglet missing, however. Louis Valentin has decided to go set a soft compound tyres, but look at how far they're going to come out behind. They're going to come out behind potentially Marlon and Aurelian here. Marlon's staying out. This is the worst possible opportunity for Louis and Bradders to come out the pit lane. They're stuck behind basically a snail at this point in Marlon. Marlon, by the way, is no snail in his league racing days. As Aurelian tries to get up the inside of him now in toward Aintree. Not really an overtaking spot, but that is an overtaking spot from Aurelian. Beautiful move. Gets Marlon out the way. Now puts Louis Valentin and Bradders again on the back foot as a result. This is changeable. Interchangeable, this race. Sam Gamer leading the way. Marcos in second. Jerry Van Bussell in third. But at this moment in time, Jerry Van Bussell, Kazizzle and Lars, along with Keen and Blackbox are the front five, and they are the ones currently who are going to be fighting out the race win, as Louis Valentin is through a Marlon coming through Booker.
I have to say, people are being very brave to try and get past people on different strategies, but you would expect Louis to try and get past because he's on the softs. Compounded tyres, more crucially, can they get to the end? We did see a few people last 10 or 11 laps, but we did see the drop off from Kazizzle. But if Kazizzle can do it, Louis can almost certainly do it. As Aurelian is trying to fight back from Louis, but Louis just saying, no, you are going to stay behind, Sunshine, and I'm going to be in the top 8 and challenge for this race victory. I think there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars at the moment in the running for this win, and also if you count Bradders as well. And I have to say, if you're the top 2, you'll be praying for a safety car, because I still have no clue why they're staying out. They would have come into the pits right now. I think Sam is hoping for bad things to happen elsewhere in the field and for him to be like, you know what, I'm coming in. But the gap is closing down rapidly. Sam's going to be probably within, I think, 6th or 7th place, which is not ideal at all. But again, we have to wait and see. Anything can happen in Formula 1. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention, GT Omega, make sure you check out our sponsors. You can go and click the link in the description. You can use the code PSGL at checkout to get 5% off all GT Omega products. So make sure you do that. Or you can use the command !GT Omega in the chat. And Sam Gamer comes into the pit lane, and surely Marcos is going to be doing the same thing. No. So Marcos stays out. So Marcos is going to inherit the race lead.
Oh, my word.
Oh my word, it's going to be free wide. It's going to be free wide into Stone.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, Kazizzle trying to be brave on the brakes there as well, but Keen is having none of it. How on earth do they keep it clean without making contact? Fair play to all three of them. Keen is up into the net race lead of the British Grand Prix ahead of Kazizzle and Jay Van Bussell. Jay Van Bussell was caught napping there as well, but fair play to them. As look at where Sam Gamer is dropping. He's going to be out of the points. That is how powerful this undercut is on this game. So if you are racing a British Grand Prix race, get that undercut sorted, because We've seen it. We even saw it powerful in the lower leagues as well, as we're seeing Louis trying to get past Black Box now, and there's going to be 3 wide headed towards Brooklyn then. He's going to try and go the long way around then as well, and we got Black Box in the action as well. Louis surely's not going to go around the outside there. He's got to back off. They're being very, very brave right now, and I have to say fair play to him. I'm looking at Louis' ERS, by the way. He's running out and still going to go for it. Is he going to try and make the move into Cop's corner? Nope, he's not. Surely Lars gets, well, he's trying to defend from Louis. He can't do it. Now heading towards Maggie Beggett section, I have to say my favourite corner in Formula 1.
Definitely so. Can we just take it back to what Kian did? He absolutely parted the Red Sea. Yes, he moved across 3 wide. And now, speaking of which, 3 wide down the straight as Louis Valentine is going to get the move done now around the outside of Lars. Surely in towards Stowe. He's got 1. He's surely, sorry, it's Bradders, I should say, on Louis Valentine.
I was going to say.
5 on the set of mediums. The Alpine coming around the outside into a Valen Club, and Louis Valentine's getting involved in this as well. Up to the inside, the Frenchman gets through on the Dutchman. Brilliant stuff from Louis Valentine. The elbows are out and the guns are firing here at Silverstone. Kian leads the way, Kazizzle second, Jerry there in third. While we've got a little bit of calm in the race, Kian, 3 moves down in towards Stowe. 1 absolutely blitzing down the straight, 2 blitzing down the straight, and then 3 comes across, I think, on Kazizzle to move him out the way and get into the net race lead. How on earth they didn't make contact 3 wide coming through Cops? I wish I had a better camera angle coming through Stowe, even as Kian now leads the way. Kazizzle in second, Joe Van Busten in third. People are saying that in the chat, saying Kian an easy win. I don't think so. I really do not think so, because Kian has got 30% of ERS. Kazizzle is on 48%, and Joe Van Bussel on 46. We talked about how ERS management was very, very good in terms of this race. Kian at the minute, 25%. As long as he can keep that gap, he could be on for the race win. But anything, as one famous Formula 1 commentator said once upon a time, anything can happen in Formula 1.
And it usually does. And I have to say, looking at the strategies, because it's all started on soft and he's now on mediums, as Bradders trying to get past Black Box once again into Stowe corner.
Beautiful.
This time he's succeeded, and he could potentially get past Jay Van Bussel as well. Soft to mediums on Wednesday in PCF1 was the quickest strategy compared to everybody else. So I think that's what Kazizzle's trying to do. So watch out for Kazizzle towards the end of this race. It's not over for him, and he's got more ERS to play with. Sam Gamer, by the way, don't count him out. He set the fastest lap, and he's on a much softer rubber. We see how long Kazizzle could do. Down the inside,
beautiful,
through the loop, and then in towards Aintree now. Sam Gamer, beautiful stuff. And he's winning this DRS train. It is not over for Sam Gamer. Watch out.
Bradders right on the back of Joe Van Bussel. Joe Van Bussel right on the back of Kazizzle as well. And this race is firing on all cylinders. I really hope these drivers keep it clean, because we are in for a brilliant final 6 laps here at Silverstone. I hope there's no safety cars. I hope everyone can keep it clean. That's all we want, both as viewers, as commentators as well. As Bradders is on the back of Jerry, in toward the right-hander of Cops at turn number 9. Kian though leading the way, Kazizzle in second. Kazizzle just trying to inch out a gap, 0.6 of a second coming through Cops there. Jerry Van Bussel in third, Bradders there in fourth. Talk about, by the way, in the chat about Bradders and his 5-second penalty. Yes, I think they'll get removed. Louis Valentine, I think, will get removed. I think he's forced, and basically his Bradders. I'm going to interrupt myself, because here he comes on Jerry Van Bussel. Breezes past down the straight in towards Stowe. Jerry Van Bussel not interested by that at all. Louis Valentine is interested with a move up the inside of Black Box and all of this as well. And look at Sam Gamer involved in this as well. He's switched to the inside line. Surely not 3-1 in towards Valen Club. But in the end, Sam Gamer backing out of that, and that could have ended in absolute carnage and tears. Sam Gamer did the right thing there. Back out before the sausage curb comes, before the contact is made. They've just got to remain calm and collected. It's easy for us to say in the commentary box, as Brad is right on the back of this once again.
Here comes Sam through Village. Oh, making a bit of contact there through the loop, heading towards Adrian now. Around the outside he goes, keeping that outside line. Surely, with the better traction and the softer rubber, he's going to get past. Beautiful stuff from Sam Gamer, and now he's going to have a difficult task of trying to get past Louis. But Bradders getting past Kazizzle there down the inside, up into second place. But don't forget, Bradders got that time, by the way. It could get removed though, so the lead can change hands there. And Way saying in the chat, anyone can win this. I have to say, it's true. If you're within a DRS train, if you're in the top 9, you can win this. So I think everyone in this top 9 has got a really, really good chance. And I would like you to tell me in chat who you think's going to win this one, because I can't call it in the commentary box, and I'm sure James can't call it either. But we're watching this DRS train start to get crazier and crazier and crazier, and Louis on no softs is trying to get past. If I was Sam Gamer, I would back off massively here, as we can see Jay Van Bussel to the outside through Stowe. That is a beautiful move from Louis again. That was brave than what we saw Keane doing. Sam Gamer trying to go through Vale then, past Jay Van Bussel to no avail, unfortunately. This time he's going through Club, almost being pushed off wide. Through to Hamilton straight now. I think the next chance he's got is heading towards Abbey. No, he's not at the moment. The tyres will start to fall off soon, so he's got to make the move now. Markados sets the fastest lap. His race is over. Through the loop, heading towards Aintree now. I think he's made the move before, and I think this has been one of his signature moves, but he can't get it done this time. What a defensive line from Jay Van Bussel. Sam Gamer's second chance is through the Wellington straight into Brooklands. Nope, he's not going to get past unless he can find a cheeky move around the outside, maybe. Nope, he's not. So, unless he can do it now. Oh my God, Sam is trying to take advantage of Jay Van Bussel here. Going through the national pitch straight. No, not going to happen.
Now, there was a bit of hitbox actually involved in that as well. The cars are a little bit further back compared to what they are on the last game on F122, and Sam actually made a little bit of contact coming through Luffield there, unsettled Jerry's car. He did the right thing, back off, otherwise that would have been a guaranteed penalty, I think, for Sam. He's right on the back, though, of Jerry Van Bussel. He's there in 5th, the Ferrari. Absolutely living this, we are, I've got to say, in the commentary box. You should see my reactions on the camera, because they are really not telling the story of this race. As Ian there leading the way, from Bradder's in 2nd, because this is there in 3rd. Here comes Sam Gamer again on the back of Jerry, but he can't get the job done. But look at the gaps. Top 9 are covered by, and I'm going to have the gap to the leader up 3 seconds as covering the top 9, going on to the final 4 laps of the race. Anybody can win this. Absolutely anybody can win this. As Markados picks up the fastest lap of the race, he could be getting that extra point. He's down there in 13th. I don't think it will count, though, because it's the top 10 that do. Yeah, it's the top 10, I think, that get the fastest lap points, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't care, though. Markados makes contact actually with your own in towards Village in the loop. He gets the job done, albeit that thing is going to be a penalty coming his way. Is Markados, and how the good have fallen from Brazil. Brazil, of course, he had retribution last week in Bahrain. Markados there in 12th position, out of the points, and he's going to be very disappointed with himself. Marlon now banging in new fastest lap of the race as well. But Sam Gamer right on the back of Jerry Van Bussel, coming through Woodcote, now in towards Cops at turn number 9. But once again, he can't get the job done. But with 3.5 laps to go, Kian, Bradders, Kazizzle, and Sam Gamer, if he pulls this one off around the outside of Maggott and Beckett, I'll give him a 5 in myself, but he's not going to get the job done on the back of Jerry Van Bussel. And Jerry there, all out of shape coming through Maggott and Beckett, could give the run on Chapel for Sam Gamer. Is he going to be close enough? Is Louis? I think he will. Yeah, is Louis going to be close enough on the back of Kazizzle, though? Look at the speed, actually, of Louis to the outside line in the Williams. Tries to get the job done, but he can't. He might have the run out coming through Vale and towards Club. Around the outside and towards Vale will be the best opportunity, and he might try this, you know. Louis to the inside line. Just about falls because this is off track. It's job done, and Kazizzle drops back behind Joe.
Sam Gamer! He's trying to get past Kazizzle. Oh, they make a bit of contact through Abbey. That was almost a through goes Lewis Hamilton moment. Sorry to cut you off there, but Sam Gamer up into 5th spot, and he's got to get past Jay Van Bussel now. He's in a prime position to win this race, and those tyres will start to fall off quickly, but he's a little bit further behind. Jay Van Bussel has got the straight line speed of Dreams. Black Box gets past Diddle now because he's struggling on those medium tyres, it looks like. So it may mean that the drop-off might be a lot earlier than we would expect. And I think watch out for Louis, as I think Jay Van Bussel could close up anytime soon as well. Grab your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. We're on lap 24 of 26. Kian is leading this race. Brad is in P2. Louis in 3rd. Bearing in mind, they do have time penalties, but we might see those time penalties get removed. It does depend on what the stewards like to say as well, and I think from experience around Silverstone on F123, I think we're going to see some late moves in the last lap. No safety cars though, it's too late for that. all it's going to be is a sprint to the finish. Is it going to be Kian, Brothers, Louis, Jerry, Sam, or Black Box, or even Kazizzle that takes the win? But don't count out Lars or Aurelian as well. Markados is on the soft tyres. It could be getting the point. Sam Gamer is going to be launching an attack maybe on Jerry Van Bussel. Through towards Abby then. He's got to be right on the gearbox to try and get past at the moment. We saw him going through in the loop before, but he's not going to do so. He's being very cautious. We don't want to see... Oh,
my God.
That was a late move from Sam Gamer. That almost ended in tears. Luckily, it didn't. And in towards Wellington Straight. Not much space, I have to say, has been given at all.
And there's Black Box right on the back of Sam Gamer as well. Would not be surprised if he's got a little bit of damage as a result of that as well.
Yeah.
The Canadians connection just dropping slightly as well. Black Box forced off wide coming through Brooklyn's. Black Box is not going to be happy. Somebody that isn't going to be happy though and is going to be fuming is Kazizzle. Kazizzle is going to be absolutely livid in that Chizou cockpit right now. He's there in 7th. In the Alfa Romeo, but Tom's comments, I think, are not going to do him justice. I know Kazizzle quite well, and I've commentated them since he started off his league racing career. Rodadol's got the job done on Stefano, coming in towards Cop's corner, so that's a nice move there up to 12th position for him. But Kazizzle is going to be absolutely livid in that cockpit right now. He is going to be fuming right to Big C's office. I guarantee you this right now. As we go on towards the final lap of the race, it is anybody's race. Brothers and Louis penalty, by the way. We do not know if it's going to get removed. I'm under the impression that both of them will get removed. This is why it is all even Stevens basically now out on track as Kian leads the way. To think that Kian has been out of the points in the first 2 races of the season. He finished disappointingly last week as well, but now he's on to the final lap of the race and takes the lead of the race, going on to the final lap through Abbey and through Farm. But I think Brothers, his first attack is going to come in towards Village. Is he going to try and get the job done in towards Village? No, he's not. He's going to wait until the Wellington Straight, and everyone now calming down and behind, just waiting for the calm before the storm. On the final lap of the race, here is Kian leading the way from Brothers in 2nd. Louis Valentin there in 3rd. Everyone just getting spaced out. It's all going to happen down the
Brothers going to go for it into Brooklyn's. Nope, he's not at the moment. And bearing in mind, Brothers is not sure he's going to get that penalty removed either. So he's still got to fight as if his penalty is going to get removed. Because if he does, he'll get his 2nd win of the season. But if he doesn't fight with Kian, we can see our 3rd different win this season. Brothers trying to go for a move into Cop's corner, but Kian puts his car in all the right places, and he stayed in the lead for now, heading towards Maggots and Beckett for the final time today here at PSGL PSF1. Tim getting past Yossi. They're having a nice battle in the background as well. And for the final time through the hangar straight, here comes Brothers to the inside through Stowe. Can he get the job done? They make a bit of contact. Kian trying to go for the switch bar as we head towards Vale for the final time. This can be a photo finish, but Brothers takes the lead from Kian. But on track, Brothers will win, but at the moment, provisionally, Kian wins in Silverstone, Jerry in 2nd, Sam in 3rd. And we got Black Box, Lars, Kazizzle, Aurelian, Markados, Brothers, and Louis. But obviously, we got to keep an eye on if any of those penalties will get removed. What a race. What a race. It started off a bit dirty, but it was a lot cleaner towards the end. So they must have followed our lessons there. But it is all very provisional, of course, because we don't know if the penalty is going to be removed. But for now, all we know, Kian has won, and we got to crown him that. Well done to Kian. Yeah. Amazing job.
Yeah, definitely. So Kian, first double TF podium as well, I believe, as well as Jensen's AI smashes into the back of Marlon coming across the line there. But Kian, there winning the race. I think, to be honest, he kept his nose clean for the most part in that race. Yes, there was bits of contact throughout the top 3, and that's what we're going to have to rely on. We're going to have to rely on just provisional results at this stage. Yossi and Tim will be really forgiving after that lap 1 contact. Of course, Yossi spun around by Markados. Tim ended up down there in 19th. I don't think he even got a mention, did Tim, in that race, which is unfortunate. Down there in 19th. Everyone finished as well under their own volition. Drive of the day, all above in-game fans. Yep, Jerry Van Bussel, I think, to be honest, definitely deserves it. Very good drive from his perspective. But to the top step of the podium for now, provisionally, is Kian. However, Jess, I think that top 5 and even in the top 10, I think that is going to change quite a lot. Maybe on the same level as we saw with Brazil and the results that they changed. But it's the Dutch flag at the top step of the podium for now. It is Kian out on top. His first points of the season. And my word, does he absolutely deserve them? Deserves the race win, and Kian, for now, is your race winner. But I have a feeling there are
It could
going to
all
be certainly
change.
more instant. Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be more instant reports than last week.
I think no matter what happens, Kian is going to be on the podium no matter what. I think he's kept his podium, but whether he's going to be P1 or P2 remains to be seen. But it could all change at a drop of a hat. But it's not up to us, it's up to the stewards. We can only report on it, but we will report on it next week. But let's go through your results then. Provisionally, of course, Kian wins from Joe Van Bussel in second. A Talent Factory 1-2, a Dutch 1-2. Sam Gamer with a brilliant result in P3. Black Box in fourth, Lars in fifth, Kazidal sixth, Aurelian in seventh, Markados in eighth. And does he take fastest lap? Nope, he doesn't, I don't think. Then we got Bradlett in P9, and then we've got Louis in the 10th. Then we got Ryderdale, Ryan, Stefano, Jerome, Marlon Jens, Avola Congagnozzi, and Tim. And for the first race I ever commentated on this game, every single driver has finished the race. So well done, everybody, and on the lead lap. Tim got the fastest lap on the final lap as well, so well done to them. But redemption, it's a season of redemption, isn't it? First we saw Markados being redeemed in Bahrain last week. This week it's Kian.
It is Kian, and to be honest, he absolutely deserved that. As you say, I think he's going to be on the podium regardless. He did a fantastic job, I think, in that race. Do you mind, Jess, if you ask the drivers if they want a few interviews?
Yeah, we might as well. I'm trying to get it on my phone, but it's very, very difficult right now. But hopefully we could try. We had nobody last week, which was a bit frustrating, not gonna lie. But
I've got you, it's fine.
I was trying to type on my phone and trying to keep the stream open. It's very difficult, but Kian drove very well. Sam Gamer drove very well. Lars in fifth place. And by the way, the difference between Lars and Kazidal was a 0.79, which is insane. Same with Aurelian as well. So that was a very intense battle towards the end in terms of penalties as well. No rain affects the drivers as well. It has to be up there with, I think, a very strong half of the first few half of the season. Where are we next week? I believe we're at Qatar. Yeah, we are. We're at Qatar next week. One of the newest track on the game, and another track that the drivers love.
Yeah, definitely. So Qatar, I've got to say, is one of my favourite tracks on this game in terms of driving, certainly. We are going to hear from Kian, by the way. Kian is going to be joining us in the waiting room very, very shortly indeed. Sam Gamer is not going to be joining us, but he has, however, had a bit of a comment on saying, tough second stint, this was the best experience I ever had, and we'll keep learning more. And that is what exactly we want. We want these drivers to learn more. These are the top, but you always are going to learn something in your racecraft, in terms of your racing. Nobody is 100% perfect. There are flaws in everyone, and hopefully everyone can work out their flaws so we can produce better racing as we go forward here in PSF1. But we will hear from Kian at least. Jerry Van Bussel, I know, has said no the last 2 weeks he's been on the podium, so I don't think we're going to be hearing from him potentially tonight either. But if we do, then we are going to be hearing from Jerry Van Bussel. We are indeed, but he is having to
do something.
Relieve himself after that race, put it that way.
A comfort break. Should I say that? Comfort break.
Yeah. Comfort break sounds better.
Yeah, what you said is definitely not. But whilst we wait for that, whilst we wait for the interviews, I may as well get the camera screen back up again. No, I do not want that. There we go. That's the right camera screen as well. But whilst we wait for people to join the interview room, final plug of our sponsor, GT Omega. Lovely, comfy chairs there that we've had for the past few years now. Make sure you use the code PSGL at checkout by clicking the link in the description to use 5% off all GT Omega products. Or you can put the command in !GT Omega. Follow us on Discord as well, and Twitter and Instagram at PremierSimGL. We've still got more races coming up, haven't we? We've got PCF1 as they do their Qatar race. No Jack Cannon this week, so we've got Chris Buxton and George Morgan. George Morgan will be back. I'm very excited to see that duo on Wednesday evening. Come on, guys. Surely it's not that long before you have a comfort break. Surely. we're gonna have to keep rambling on until the end. There's only so much that we can ramble on, but But we have to talk about Qatar in a way as well, because it's a track that not many people have raced at on this game. Sure, there's been many social races around there, but not much research has been on setups on this game around Qatar. So very even playing field. We saw that in Miami last year. We could see it in Qatar again.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I think the first thing to point out about Qatar, it is so hard if you're a no assist driver. All of these guys in top tier, and indeed for the majority of OTs and PSGL, are no assist. So people are going to find it tough in Qatar. They probably learned the track. I know there was a WRL social race a couple of weeks ago around there as well. Certainly looked like it went well as well. But hopefully we get to see some really good action around there. Qatar is one of my favourite tracks to drive on this game as well. And it is really, and I can't believe I'm saying this, given that it's a multi-GP track for the majority of it, I cannot believe the amount of overtake and the amount of close racing that we see around there. I'm very, very shocked, because we normally see pretty much spaced out grids in Formula 1 these days. Not on F1 23, albeit, but Qatar is one of those tracks where you get one part of that track wrong, no matter where it is, you're going to be sent off, potentially into the desert, potentially out of the Qatar border as well. And if you do, then unfortunately, it's the track limits and everything, then you are going to be on the back foot, I think, throughout. But Qatar is going to be very interesting. And then I believe, round number 5, I'm just going to take a quick look at the calendar. It's Austria, so that is going to be very interesting as well. Red Bull Ring, of course, always produces good racing. Sometimes aggressive driving standards can get in the way around in Austria, and hopefully that is a sign, hopefully not of things to come for our drivers. And if they don't, then obviously Austria is going to be a very, very good race indeed. But what we can do is get one man into the waiting room. There was somebody that popped in there thinking, oh, I'm going to... Mr. Jerry Van Bossel. And there's Kian as well, who was just joined. They were having a debrief, I think, with LRB. So I'll get them both in. Get them in the right waiting room first, or the right commentary box first.
That would help.
Them both in. There we go.
Can you hear us, most importantly, you two?
I can.
Yes,
I can hear them.
Oh, good. We don't have to go to the rating room. That's good. I'll let you do this one, James.
Yep, no problem at all. We can speak then to the man who finished in P1 in the end, and that, of course, is Kian. And Kian, congratulations on that race win. Hard race out there, though, at Silverstone. Plenty of on-track action. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was... Well, at the start of qualifying, it was really bad. I was 3/10 of my personal best, so that was not great. So from P5 on, it was a bit of a chaotic start, with people starting on soft, mediums and stuff, so I had to stay out of trouble. After that, it was just managing, and I saw quickly that my pace was really good compared to the others. So I could just wait for the overtake. We pitted early. We got ahead of the guys that were in front of me. And then it was just managing from there on. And with Brad, I knew it was a legit penalty, so he was not really a threat behind me. So that was really good. And then, finished P1, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, finished P1. I think, to be honest, the way you drove there out on track, you absolutely deserved, I think, that P1 in the end. Obviously, with Bradders picking up that penalty, Louis potentially maybe that 5-second penalty get removed from his end. But talk us through what happened, of course, in that race, because we had that VSC on lap 1. Did that take you back somewhat, because you were up towards the top end of the field? Did that just bring a little bit of a sense of, oh, what's my plan now?
To be honest, not really. It was just, the safety car was so early that I wouldn't think the strategies would change or anything like that. It would ruin my race. But my safety car or my VSC restart was really bad. I immediately lost it on the position. I wasn't really looking to it, but for the rest, it didn't really change the race, luckily.
Yeah, it didn't really change the race, and I've got to say as well, compared to the F1 Esports Challenger showing, which I'm sure I'm not going to get into, you finished well down the field in that. And P1, obviously, at Silverstone, in front of partly the Dutch fans, but also partly the British fans as well, must be very happy, especially now you've got your first point to the board in PSGL F1 this season.
Yeah, exactly. Very happy.
Very, very happy to hear. And Jess, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Well, I have to say, redemption for you, Mr. Kian. We'll head to the next track next week of Qatar. You tend to go quite well around here. Haven't had much practice. How are you finding guitar on this game, and how do you rate your chances going into next week?
To be honest, I haven't driven a single lap around Qatar yet, so we have to see what my pace is there. But I think it will be fine, as my pace around all the tracks this game seems to be very good.
Brilliant. That is my question for Kian, unless you have any others, James.
I do not. Kian, congratulations on the race win, and go and enjoy your evening.
Yes, thank you, and thanks for commentating.
You are very welcome indeed. And we can now speak to the man, and I've got to get the results up because I forgot where he finished. We could speak to the man who finished in second. It is Mr. Jerry Van Bussel and Jerry Van Bussel. P2 out on track. Very hard fought race considering some of the battles you were in.
Yeah, it was very hard. A lot of battles. But yeah, I quite like battles actually. So this time it was more clean than normally, so it's good.
It is good. It is good. We would like to see some clean racing. You got your elbows out, certainly, in your fair share of battles in that race. Talk us through, obviously, what happened with some of those battles. You were in amongst the mix. Were you feeling with Kian as well? Obviously, being ahead of you, did you feel like you had a chance potentially of catching him?
Well, I took the undercut, so it wasn't possible to get Kian back because he had so much better tires. So I knew the moment he overtook me, it was done. And yeah, then from that moment, I just tried to hold everyone back that could stay back from me, so I could gain a lot of points as possible. Or yeah, don't try to fall back like in the field to the out of top 10 or maybe top 10.
Yeah, which was the big thing, that undercut strategy, very, very potent towards the midpoint of the race. We saw drivers pitting in a little bit earlier to what we were thinking as well in commentary, and that really brought about the change-up in the field. I had a question that I was going to ask, but it's totally escaped me, so I'll think about that. Jess, any questions?
First of all, congratulations on P2. As I was saying to King, guitar is the next track coming up as well. Not had that much time to practice. Have you done many races around here? And two, how are you feeling about it?
Well, like also today, I don't know what the quali pace is gonna be. It's not this game, not the best for me, so I just need to work on that a lot.
Okay, that makes sense. James, have you thought of your question, or is it still?
If you don't take long penalties, will be fine in the Qatar, I think.
I think there was a bit of lag there.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a lag there. So the last half of the question was probably cut off a bit there. But I can't think of any more questions, James. I don't think you can either. So I think we'll wrap up the interview there. Thank you, Jay, for joining us. P2 at the British Grand Prix. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you for commentating, guys. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You're welcome indeed. And I think that wraps up things there, because obviously we can't interview Sam as he doesn't want to, which is fair enough. It is not mandatory for our drivers. So I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. If you've been watching it live or post-event, we do really appreciate your presence. As I was saying earlier, make sure you check out all the other streams we do at PSGL. We don't just do PSF1, we do PCTs galore. We got the esports drivers on Wednesday evening as they race around Qatar for the Qatar Grand Prix coming up. That's going to be very, very exciting. Make sure you check out the lower tiers as well. Dan and Richie take you through F2 on Thursday evening. And then we got ourselves take you through the F1 action on Monday through Qatar 2. James, any final thoughts before we wrap up for the evening?
Yeah, Qatar's going to be really interesting. I think drivers are not really used to this track. We haven't seen it. We've seen it once, I think, in Formula 1 as well in real life. Of course, going back there in 2023. So it's going to be really interesting. Strategic ERS management potential coming to the fore as well. It's going to be a fascinating night. And if you, and the final thing for me, if you see us coming on at 10 to 8 next week, you'll know we've got about 16 steward reports to go through.
Yes, I think we had to go for it early as well. And we get a little bit of an idea of how the Qatar track is run, because I would have done a league race the night before. So I would have some tips for the drivers. Probably not, because I'm like 4 or 5 seconds slower than the esports drivers. So they could show us how it's done we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. We'll have our final word from our sponsor, GT Omega, and also a little bit of an outro as well. Have a good evening, everybody. Take care, and goodbye.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside. Oh, here is through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.